There's much to stimulate the mind and spirit in our psalm of individual thanksgiving today. This is one of the acrostic psalms, for example, with each new line in Hebrew beginning with the next letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It's also the first time we have reference to an angel watching over those who fear the Lord. And then in verse 20, this brings to mind the suffering servant in Isaiah 52 and 53. Perhaps the most curious questions arise from the occasion about which the psalm was written. A few days ago, when we looked at Psalm 27, I spoke of an occasion when David had sought refuge from Ahimelech, the high priest. David had fled from Saul in a hurry, and he and his men were in need of nourishment. And David needed a weapon. Ahimelech fed David and his men with bread from the Lord's table, and gave David the sword of Goliath, the giant he had slain. David and his men then sought refuge in Philistia. But both David and Achish, the king of Philistia, were wary of each other. Abimelech may have been another name for the king, or perhaps it was a generic name, like Pharaoh, for it means father and king. In any case, David pretended to be insane in order not to be seen as a threat. Later, in the next chapter, we hear that Doeg, the servant of Saul, who had been present when David was helped by Abimelech, had killed the priests under Saul's direction because they had helped David. You'll find this in 1 Samuel 21 and 22. Psalm 34 is a psalm of David when he pretended to be as insane before Abimelech, who drove him away, and he left. I will extol the Lord at all times. His praise will always be on my lips. I will glory in the Lord. Let the afflicted hear and rejoice. Glorify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. This poor man called, and the Lord heard him. He saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you his holy people, for those who fear him lack nothing. The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. Come, my children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. Whoever of you loves life and desires to see many good days, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from telling lies. Turn from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their cry. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil, to blot out their name from the earth. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the broken-hearted, and saves those who are crushed in spirit. The righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all. He protects all his bones. Not one of them will be broken. Evil will slay the wicked. The foes of the righteous will be condemned. The Lord will rescue his servants. No one who takes refuge in him will be condemned. It's as I said, a very interesting and stimulating psalm. But it's actually something different that I want to pick up on today. In verse 8, David says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good." Now, many Christians will immediately think of the Lord's Supper, of communion, when they hear these words. When together, of course, we use physical elements of bread and wine in living remembrance of Jesus. I think we can see more in it. Jesus once asked his hearers to think about the world. the birds of the air that are fed by God, and the flowers of the field whose beauty is given by God. God the Father cares for the living nature. How much more then will he care for us? Jesus concludes. God's care is to be seen in what we taste and in what we see. And all these things are given to us as we live by and trust in his wisdom for our living together. To live by God's wisdom is for the world to taste and see God's goodness, to have enough food and have appreciation of the wonder of God's creation. If these things are lacking from our living or from our society, then we have to ask ourselves why. To fear the Lord is to honour him in our living, to trust his wisdom, and to work towards his kingdom in the world today. A prayer for today. Loving God, as we contemplate the wonder of creation around us, help us to taste and see that you are good, and to reveal that goodness in our concern for others. Amen.